Hello, and welcome again to my show, Searching for Integrity. My name really is John Smith, and I'm searching for people with integrity. Why? Because our country suffers from IDD, Integrity Deficit Disorder. We have today our guest, Jennifer Hughes, bringing you some important information regarding there we go. I'm a place here. Choose happy. Be this, not that. I like that. You can't hardly get around that one.
That's true.
You can't get around it. It's be this or not that. And a lot of people I know use that for their life and their, how they act, what they want to do. And you probably have a ton of stories for this. So let me give you some more information just about yourself. Just a second. I'm going to call you Jennifer instead of Jenny because Jennifer is appropriate selling. I think that's what that is.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. I'm going to let you tell us about your book to start with. And I put it in quotes, do this, not that. I have to use that more often.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I first of all, I mean, I'm certified as a life coach, and I'm certified by Jack Canfield to teach his success principles. And what I noticed about everything that I was doing in my work was it was kind of all about choose happy. It was kind of all about like you have the power to choose, and what you choose has a tremendous impact on all the other aspects of your life. And so I really just wanted it to be, and I call myself the coach in your pocket is the name of my website. And it's kind of like having a shoulder angel, like whisper you, tell you what to decide to do. And, but it's a coach in your pocket, a life coach who's helping you make wise decisions for your life. And it's helping you to choose to be happy. Choose happy. It really is. So often there's skills that go along with it. And if people do them, they're more happy. And there's some things that people do that make them less happy. So I'm really kind of all about helping people to do the things that make them more happy. I love that. I love helping people be happy.
That's wonderful. It really is. And you've got something on for yourself and how hard you've worked to get there, to know there and be there yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to tell you about it?
You bet.
Yeah. And just so you know, your camera seems to be off right now, just to let you know.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I will tell you kind of about my story. I was depressed. I was pretty I kind of consider it being down in the bottom of a deep, dark well. And I just was like so unhappy all the time. And my children were like trying to cheer me up, trying to get me back to the mom that they
Right.
knew and that they had
Right.
before and that they deserved.
Yeah.
And my husband said to me one day, I cannot go another year like this. And I was like, what about me? It's no picnic over here either. And I was highly offended. I was incensed. But then I thought about that over and over again. And I thought, can I go another year like this? Do I want to? Where do I want to be next year? The same place? No. So
Right.
I decided that was not an option for me. And I had to do whatever it took to climb out of that deep, dark well of depression. And I'm so glad I did. And now I really love to help other people to choose happy.
When was this?
Oh, it was about 13 years ago, maybe.
Okay, I got it. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be 2010. That's wonder why my, okay, I'm back. Sorry.
That's-
Did you plan on it? No, it was a big surprise to you then, I think is what you were saying. And that you decided to do something with it, that you hadn't been using it.
Yeah, I didn't write this book until I wrote it last year, and this year it's coming to print. So I finally have it in my hands. I can look at it now, but it was really like I still didn't have the vision of creating a book, and the book is not specifically about my journey from depression and out of it, but it's really just more like a quick little I actually wrote it in bullet points because I want it to be quick. I want people to be able to just really like get the important points and take what they need out of it as fast as possible. Kind of like those books where they have like a summary at the end of the chapter and it has bullet points like here's the most important points of this chapter, and everyone loves that part the best. So I just wrote the whole book like that. The whole book is just the chapter bullet points. This is the most important thing. So I didn't even do that until last year. It really was kind of a surprise to me. All of a sudden I just got this kind of almost vision. I felt like just this inspiration where I was like, I see it, I know what I need to do. And it's kind of it's the beginning of a series. The next one will be called Choose Happy, Think This, Not That. So I'm just going to keep going with this Coach in Your Pocket series and really try to help people choose happy with all of it.
Let me ask you, how long did it take you, I guess, to get there to start doing this? Have you've probably thought about it, but you didn't do anything about it?
Yeah, let me tell you, I first started wanting to write a book when I was 14.
Really?
So it took more than 4 decades before I actually did it. So there was a little bit of, there was whatever that was back then. I mean, back then it was just a dream, and I didn't really ever think it would be true. And so I really kind of got this vision for it in 2021. And I was like, okay, I need to do this. But first, you know, I I don't know. I kind of got a slow start. I kind of procrastinated. I had that fear of like, oh, what if people don't like it? What if what if somebody thinks I don't know what I'm talking about or whatever? And I thought, well, I know my experience. And even though the book isn't focused on my experience, I still use the things that I've learned in my experiences
Sure.
to speak in the book. So I finally just decided this has to happen. I started to kind of visualize it every day, and I just started to go full throttle until it was done.
Now, if people uh, buy your book, are they going to plan out their own 1 through 3, 1 through 5, 1 through 7? They're going to go for the book, your book. What do you think with that? Are they going? That's what it's for. You're obviously they're doing it on their own.
Yeah. Well, I have a coaching group too, where I walk people through the concepts in a lot more detail. We go into a lot more depth about the teachings, and then they can get their questions answered about their specific circumstances. But I also have a quiz that people can take to kind of figure out where they're at. Are you choosing happy a lot, or are you choosing kind of medium, or maybe you need to do better? So people can take that quiz as well and kind of learn where they're at. So yeah, I just really want to help people choose happy in whatever ways going to speak to them the most.
How was Jack Canfield?
He's awesome.
Yes, yeah. I saw him on one of the Steve and Laura sessions, or 3 days in Philadelphia at the airport, and that's where I met Jack as well. I didn't
Nice.
to decide what to do with him. I just figured I had my own book to figure out and go off for to do. I know that people will often, even though these are, what do you call the people? Are they patients?
Clients.
Clients. Okay, clients. Do some of the clients I guess you could notice that if they tried to be difficult.
Yeah, yeah. People sometimes have resistance to change, and
Mhm.
but it's that we already have a relationship where we're friends, and they know it, and they know I'm supportive of them. And when you love somebody truly, you want to call them out to be their best self.
Sure.
You don't want to see them kind of stagnate, because that's not what real love is. If you love them, you want what's best for them, for them to be their highest self. So there's a little bit of challenge that comes with it, and but it's also in a very supportive environment where they know I have their best interest at heart.
Right. Did you put together? I saw in here you had something. Was it a kind of a membership?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us
And
about
it's
that.
yeah, I it's just where we go deeper. We just bring it deeper. So many people read a book and they're like, I need more, I want more, I want to go deeper right now. And this is where we do that. We each week we have a master class where we kind of go really deep on one topic, and we explore all the things, and they're free to bring up their questions and say, this is where this shows up in my life. What can I do about this? How can I, what should I do? What in the be this, not that, or do this, not that? What should I do? And not that,
Mhm.
do this. And it's not specifically like that. But I coach them and I help them through the specific situations in their life. And it's really amazing to see how it's starting to change their lives, and how, it helps their levels of happiness increase, and it helps strengthen their relationships and that kind of thing. It's really amazing.
Do you
Yeah.
have? Are you always have a? What am I after here? Do you have people to come on in, make the club bigger? All the clients you can handle? Um,
Yeah, I'm open for more spots right now. I'm yes. Members right now.
okay.
You want me to say
Okay.
more about that?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Last week we talked about perfectionism. It's something that's just so it's pervasive for so many people, especially women, who just feel like they have to be perfect. And it's really interesting, because what it ends up doing is it makes you feel like it reinforces the underlying belief that you're not enough, because you're trying to make it perfect, and perfect is actually made up. It's not real. It's unattainable. So
Right.
it ends up reinforcing that underlying belief that I'm not enough. So it backfires in the worst way. So in our classes, we go really deep, and we talk about some of those underlying things, and then people realize, like, oh, maybe I'm doing that, and here's what should I do instead. Here's kind of the situation. What should I do instead? And then I can help them as a coach to see things differently, to think differently. It changes the way they think and act, and you know
Right.
feel. So
Now,
yeah.
do you have your sights on more education for you, or is it
you know
continuing?
Oh, yes. Learning is one of my favorite things. And
Mhm.
I start every day I'm listening to an audiobook, a podcast, or a course, or all of the above. So
Right.
I'm
Right.
always on the lookout. Yes, it's one of my favorite things to do, is to learn. And then when I have a client who comes to me and says, I have this thing, and I'm like, it's a good thing I know about that, because I've been studying relentlessly because it's
Yeah.
fun. So yeah, I really love that.
What was it?
What was what?
The example when she came in or he came in and said they were going to do something different.
Oh, it usually shows up in how most of my people are moms. It usually shows up in how a mom will relate to her children, how she'll think about
Sure.
what they're doing, and how she relates with them, and just changing what you are thinking about it it's like changing the story that we have. If we believe something like, oh, they're just doing that to bother me or just to be disrespectful or something. And then we can look at it and say, no, they're trying to do what they think is best for them. You're trying to do what you think is best for them, and they're different. And that's all. It's just a power struggle. So when they're able to kind of realize, it's kind of how they're thinking about it that's causing the problem, they can kind of change how they're thinking about it. And it's amazing how that kind of ripples out into their relationship, because then they start to show up differently as the mom and just be like, you know what? They're just doing what they think is best for them. My daughter is just doing what she thinks is best for her, even if it's different than what I think is best for her. And it's her life, it's her journey. It's, like something about perfectionism we talked about last week is, our mistakes is where we learn the most. Unfortunately for us, that's our strongest example of learning something. That's how we learn the fastest, is through mistakes. But so often we try to prevent our kids from making mistakes. Like, no, you have to do it like this so that you don't make this mistake. But it really is robbing them of a lesson that if you look back on your life and you see your mistakes, you wouldn't trade them. You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I would give up that. Like, that experience taught you that lesson, gave you that character trait, and you wouldn't trade it for anything. So, but we try to do that for our children. We're like, I want to prevent them from having pain. And what that looks like is like the mistakes are where they're going to learn. That's how it happens. And, quite honestly, in the walls of your home, that's the safest place to make mistakes, because the consequences of forgetting your lunch for school or, things like that, the consequences are so small. It's way different than when you're living out on your own and you don't pay your rent. The consequences of that can be severe and traumatic. So it's the safest place for children to learn through their own actions, through their mistakes, like how to be. And you don't even have to punish them. You don't even have to say, oh, you forgot your lunch. How dare you? Like, you don't have to say anything. They're going to learn it just because they're going to be hungry that day. That's why.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, I started out with my first wife, and it was going to a marriage counselor, which happened to be a psychiatrist. And it didn't work. And I found a new wife, which is wonderful. Thank you, God. I often think about what the people do and how they do it in terms of their spouse, and do they at some point, I don't know, when do you start making demands?
I think I don't think it's ever a good idea to make demands. I think you can make requests. I think that's maybe a better word for it. Is you set up a boundary and it's kind of like, here's what I'm asking of you, but I'm not trying to tell you what to do, and I'm not trying to control you. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do if this happens this way. So then you can decide, okay, if you're yelling, I'm not in the room, or if, something like that. I don't think making demands is ever a good idea. Even as a parent, I feel like it's better to let people, like I said, that's how they're going to make mistakes. You let them do what they're going to do. And sometimes they make mistakes, but you can talk them through it. You can say something like, okay, with a child, you wouldn't do this with a spouse probably, but with a child, you could be like, well, what are you going to need, about forgetting the lunch? Like, how long are you going to be gone? What are you going to need when you get there? Are you going to sit by anyone at lunchtime? Or, and it kind of helps them remember these things. And then they learn that skill of doing it on their own. With a spouse, they're an adult. I think you just talk to them and say, here's what I would love to have happen, and tell me what I can do for you. What would you love to have happen or to see happen? Just kind of have that open communication where you just kind of appreciate that you're both adults. You both want things a certain way. And if you try to work together, you can probably reach a good part of that, if you're both willing to make an effort on that.
What about graduation? Do your clients do that? Do they have an idea that I'm getting along on my own or not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the goal of coaching is to get people, kind of out on their own, but
Mm-hmm.
people also love to just stay in the membership because they love to learn too. And they're like,
Right. Sure.
every time I can apply that to my life. And so people do love to stay also. It's just really a matter, it's just up to them. I have groups that I love to stay in, even though I feel like I'm not learning something new and I don't really need, like, I already know that. But
Mhm.
I just love to keep learning, so
Sure.
it's kind of more like that people just love it. So they want to stay. So yeah.
Well, I think that the mom thing is probably the anchor for you, and in doing that, um, and probably something close to the mom, that type of thing. I don't know, aunts and grandmas, that type of thing. Are they
Mhm.
involved?
Yeah, yeah, I actually have my degree in family life.
Hmm.
So,
Oh,
it's,
okay.
and I have been a mom for 29 years. So it really is kind of an area that I'm, comfortable with. I feel like, when I look at my adult children, I can see that I did it right. And
Uh-huh.
and it was something I was very intentional about when I was 18. I went to college and I did an assignment where we had to like look through all the generations of, I mean, at least 4 or 5 generations of kind of dysfunction that was passed down through the generations, and then
Mhm.
one positive trait. And it was really eye-opening for me as an 18-year-old to kind of see this kind of cycles of dysfunction that were passed down.
Mhm.
And I decided as an 18-year-old, I was going to be the one to break the chain and I was not going to pass on the dysfunction. And so I intentionally, that's part of why I love to learn, is I had to learn a different way. I studied, I got my degree, I took parenting courses all the time. I read lots of books, and it was kind of because of that. So it really does resonate with me because, one, my degree is there, two, my experience is there, and it worked. Like,
Right.
my children are extraordinary, and I feel like a big part of that is because I didn't make a lot of demands on them. I did set some expectations, I need you
Mhm.
to do your chore every day or whatever, but I didn't make a lot of demands, and I let them learn from their natural consequences. Like I said, if you forget your lunch, you go hungry, I'm not going to punish you for that. So I tried to not punish them wherever possible and just let them learn from the actual mistake itself, when there's a consequence that comes from that. And I feel like that really made a big difference in their lives, and it shows now. So
Um, I'm looking at, what do I have here? Looking at, now is your time to feel how you want to feel,
yes.
increase your happiness, courage, and confidence,
Hmm.
release things that no longer serve your life, um, create a more fulfilling life every day, communicate more effectively, and achieve your dreams. That's those are those are pretty solid. Those things, and you remind people that this, make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating how it all comes down to what you're thinking. What
Hmm.
you're thinking creates your results. It creates your feelings.
Hmm.
And everything goes from there. Like I said, you show up in a certain way when you're feeling a certain way because of how you're thinking. And it's amazing how it all kind of goes together. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly is good that you're still after it. Your energy is and your target is still there. Um,
Thank
some
you.
people just don't last very long, and I've known some. It didn't take me to figure out them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So I think about, I don't know, like, I just think about books that like kind of started out slow, but then became this mega bestseller. Like Jack Canfield, for example, got turned down by 144 publishers, and now he
Right.
sold like 600 million books, 700 million, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, it's okay to start off slow and
Mhm.
it builds out, as you go. So you look at everyone who's ever had any sort of following, like they start out at some point, they just start out, and if they're consistent, they keep going, they grow. That's just how it works. So that's what I'm focused on.
That's a
So
good focus, a very good focus. And I know the good thing about that is that people will, they want to be part of that too. And
yeah.
anyway, I'm going to have to thank you for being a guest. I learned a lot about you, and the people that are going to watch this YouTube are going to want to take after you.
I hope so.
Yeah, they would. And then I think that I want to ask you if you would provide the where the books are, how do they get there, that thing, so that they can get your book.
Yes, I appreciate that. The book is Choose Happy, Be This, Not That. And there's a whole subtitle here too. But the book is on products
Mhm.
thecoachinyourpocket.com. Don't forget the, and then my regular website is just thecoachinyourpocket.com. And you can learn more about my membership on there as well. There's a link on the top, and if anything, just get the book. You can, on the front cover of the book is how you find out about the quiz as well. If you want to find out how well you're doing at choosing happy. So yeah, I hope people will do it, because I really wrote it for you. I wrote it for all of you because I want to help you choose happy. And I think this book can give you some quick implementation strategies to help you, like, even if you just read one, like each chapter only has 3 or 4 pages. So even if you just read one chapter and you're like, I'm going to work on that today, I'm going to work on that this week, you'll still get something out of it. It's a quick reference book. So I'm really excited about it. It's just barely hot off the press. So I'm working on
Good.
getting it over to Amazon, but right now it's on products.thecoachinyourpocket.com.
Well,
And then you
I'm
can just
going to.
take off the products to get to my regular web. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I have to thank my listeners for tuning in.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that part as well. And now that they tuned in, they've been searching for integrity. And I want to thank them as well, as much as you. So long and happy trails to all.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks very much, Jennifer.